Welcome to Money Muscle Mindset, the podcast designed to motivate and educate you on your journey to financial and fitness success and to develop the mentality needed to achieve your goals. I'm Zay Molina, and in this episode, we're going to talk about 3 things that could be keeping you stuck where you're at. Okay, we're going to dive into these 3 things, see how they're holding you back from success, whether it's financial, whether it's fitness, or whether it's mindset. So without further ado, guys, let's dive right in and start talking about number 1. Okay, so number 1 is simply you may be addicted to comfort. Okay, and this applies to almost everybody in the world, right? We love our comfort zone. Okay, we've talked about the comfort zone before, guys, that when we're trying to grow, we're trying to develop, we're trying to achieve our goals, guys, we have to break out of the norm. We got to do something that makes us uncomfortable. We got to do something that's actually going to push us and challenge us to achieve those goals. Because if what we were doing right now was achieving those goals, we wouldn't have those as goals, right? They would be already part of our normal daily routine. They'd be already part of our lives, right? We wouldn't be striving to achieve those, right? So what we got to do is we got to find something, we got to be different, we got to do something different that's going to help us achieve that. But a lot of us, what we do, guys, and this is normal for everybody, is that we choose what's easy now versus what's necessary, right? We choose to have the easy life, right? It's easier to stay home than to go to the gym. It's easier to stay home than try to find a job. It's easier to stay in bed and binge watch Netflix than get up and start learning something new that's going to help us achieve our goals, right? We always choose what's easy because that's comfortable, right? That's what we're used to. That's what we want, right? And it sounds good, right? We all want to be comfortable. We all want to be happy and at peace, right? But when we're trying to grow, as I mentioned, guys, we got to break out of the comfort zone. We got to push ourselves to do something different to help us achieve our goals. So you got to ask yourself, are you really challenging yourself, right? Let's say when you go to the gym, right? Are you actually giving yourself a challenging workout? When you get there, are you just kind of going through the motions just to say, hey, I went to the gym, I walked on the treadmill for a couple minutes, did the bike, maybe lifted a couple of dumbbells and then kind of left? Or were you actually there with a plan in mind, said, hey, I'm going to go through a challenging arm day today, or I'm going to work my biceps, triceps, shoulders, right? Whatever it may be. I'm going to push myself to where my muscles are burning. I'm actually feeling fatigued, right? So when I leave, I feel like I had a good workout, right? Which one's easier? Obviously, just doing the bare minimum, right? But we want to challenge ourselves. We really want to grow those muscles. We really want to lose weight. We really want to, get in the best physique of our lives, right? We got to push ourselves to do something different, to start burning those calories, to start growing those muscles, to achieve the goals that we want. Same thing when it comes to your business or your side hustle, right? Are you actually putting in the time to get better at that, right? Are you working on your website, right? Are you reading new material, researching new things that are going to help you sell this product, sell this service, right? Grow online, whatever it may be, right? Are you actually putting in the time and work to, achieve that success, or are you just doing the bare minimum? Are you doing what's easy right now? Because that, again, that's what's comfortable. That's what's easy, right? So our goal is to keep challenging ourselves. We got to break out of this comfort zone and break out of this box that's holding us back and be able to go and start doing things that are not going to be so easy right now. So how can we do this, right? How can we break out of this comfort zone? Well, guys, it first starts with a mindset shift, okay? We have to first view discomfort as growth, not pain, right? We have to see this as these challenges are what's going to push us towards our goals, towards success, right? We can't look at it as, oh, it's something that's just super difficult. What if I can't do it? I don't want to do it, all this kind of stuff. We have to push past that, right? And it's going to take some time, right, to get that internal motivation for us, right? But we got to be able to say, you know what? I need to do this. I have to break out of my comfort zone, right? So we got to see it as growth, as a challenge that's going to help us achieve success. Then once you're able to talk to yourself and convince yourself that, hey, I got to break out of this comfort zone. What do I got to do? Start with the small things, right? It doesn't have to be a home run ball every single time, right? I know some people, for something small like this, what they like to do is simply just take cold showers, right? All of us, I can almost guarantee, love nice warm showers. We're not freezing in there or anything like that, right? We love to be in the warm water, right? Well, there's some people that start with a cold shower just to kind of wake them up and get them to push through something that's very challenging, because again, a lot of us don't like those cold showers, right? But once you finally get out and you're drying yourself off, right, you start to feel successful, right? You start to feel like, hey, I just did something that was super challenging. I was able to get through that. I'm ready to attack the next thing, right? And just by taking those small wins, guys, they start to add up. It builds that internal motivation. It gets you more confidence. And now you're ready to attack bigger things. Another thing you can do is, maybe not a lot of people make their beds in the morning, right? As soon as you get out of bed, make your bed. It's a small win, right? Doing something very simple, right? Very small task can help you start the day off to a good note. And then you're ready to move on to the next thing, right? Another thing you can do is, maybe when you're at the gym, try to get an extra rep in each set, right? Try to get maybe an extra set or an extra exercise per muscle, right? Do the little things that are going to help you start challenging yourself, right? It may just take a little bit more time, but you're pushing yourself to doing something new that's going to challenge you, right? And it's not too much of a change, right? You start with those small wins, they start to add up, and then you're able to start working towards bigger things. And as you continue to do these, guys, collect those small wins, it starts to help you develop those lifestyle habits that are going to help you start moving toward the direction that you want to go. So remember, you got to have a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, okay? We've talked about Carol Dweck a few times on this podcast, right? Her book called Mindset, right? She talks about how people with a growth mindset are actively seeking challenges. They're pushing themselves out of their comfort zone because they know that those struggles are going to push them to grow and develop, right? So that is the idea. We got to be those people with a growth mindset, break out of our comfort zone, seek those challenges to grow and develop. So that was the first thing that may be keeping you stuck or holding you back, okay? Number two is you may be overthinking everything, right? And I know I am 100% guilty of this, guys. When I'm working on a video, I'm working on planning a podcast or working on whatever I am at the time, I am always, trying to be a perfectionist, right? Where I'm looking at something, I'm saying, should I put this there? Should I put that there, right? Maybe I'm working on a thumbnail. Should I put this kind of text? Maybe this font, right? This color? What should I do? Maybe in my podcast episode, should I put this topic first? Should I put that topic? Should I say this? Should I say that, right? And I'm constantly just overthinking things. In reality, those minor details probably don't make too much of a difference, right? If I talk about this topic first, then the next topic, right? It's most likely not going to change anyone's thoughts on the information, right? If the information is going to be shared no matter what, whether it's first or second or third or fourth, whatever it may be, right? But I'm still putting the information out there, and the topics don't necessarily have to be in a specific order or anything like that, right? What I'm trying to say is there is no perfect decision that we can make, right? When it comes to us, doing the things that are going to help us achieve our goals, guys, we simply just got to take action. Yes, it's good to plan. Yes, it's good to prepare everything before we start, but there is no perfection that's going to come from everything, right? Our goal is to not be perfect, but just to take action, right? Because you may be sitting there trying to come up with a perfect plan, and it may be taking months and months and years for you to get started, all because you're overthinking all this kind of stuff, preparing, and before you know it, you missed your opportunity, right? Versus the person that may not be fully prepared, right? But he got a few things, a few ideas, few plans ready to go, and he just gets started and he adjusts along the way. He's making more progress than you are sitting there trying to be perfect, right? And that's the idea, guys. We can't be focused on perfect. We got to be focused on taking action. Again, guys, I am 100% guilty of this, especially when it comes to something like trading, for example, right? When you have your strategy and you learn your strategy, your goal is to think like a robot. Think objectively versus subjectively, right? So when you're looking at these markets and you're looking for your strategy to be present in the markets, right? You got to think about the rules versus how you're feeling, right? Because sometimes you see a trade setup, everything looks good, it follows your rules, but something inside of you is telling you, well, I might lose this trade. This may not work like it did last time, this and that, right? You start to overthink all this kind of stuff. And before you know it, you miss that opportunity. And hey, it may have played out perfectly to your strategy, but because you overthought it, you may have missed that move. So you got to be willing to take action and make a decision. Let's put it this way. Let's pretend you're leaving your house and you're going to the grocery store. Okay. Let's say along your drive, you come up to a stop sign. You can go left or you can go right. Okay. Regardless, you know that both directions are going to take you to the grocery store. One of them may be a little bit shorter in distance, but maybe there's more traffic lights and there's more traffic in general on that street, right? Versus if you go the other way, maybe it's longer in distance, right? But it's more open road. There's not many stops or anything like that. And you're sitting there at that stop sign trying to decide, should I go left and go through all that traffic? Should I go right and go the longer way? What should I do? How should I do it, right? And you're sitting there just trying to overthink, right? And in reality, there's people that come up to that stop sign, they just make a decision and they're going to be at the grocery store no matter which way they go, but faster than you because you're simply sitting there overthinking that idea, right? And what you got to do is simply convince yourself to make a decision as soon as possible, right? You come up to that stop sign, think about it for a second, right? But then either go left or right. Right? They're both going to get you to the grocery store. They're both going to get you to that place. It's just a matter of which way you go, right? One may be a little bit longer, yes, but you're still going to get there. And that's the idea. You're moving forward. Rather than stopped at that stop sign, you're moving in the direction that you need to go to get to your location. And yes, I know there's a lot of fears that pop into our minds where like, what if I go this way and there's an accident, right? Or what if I go this way and there's even more traffic than I expected? What if there's road work? What if there's a pothole, right? All of this kind of stuff, right? And what you got to keep in mind though, is that when it comes down to stuff like that, what do? Yes, there may be a delay, but there's always a detour, right? And that's the same thing we got to do in our lives, right? When we're trying to go, on a fitness journey, financial journey, right? When we're trying to improve, we understand that it's not going to go perfectly smooth, right? There's not a yellow brick road that we just follow and everything's perfect all the time. We understand that challenges appear, right? Disappointments appear, losses appear, right? All of these things come and hit us when we're on this journey of growth, right? But we got to view them as not losses, but lessons. we got to push around them. We're always going to find that detour where if we have something come up in the road, right, we understand that we can just go around it, find a different path, but we're going to still head forward, head towards our goals, right? And we're going to adjust as we go. But that's the idea, is you have to be going to be able to make those adjustments. You can't be sitting at that stop sign and planning for something that may not even happen, right? What if you go on one of the roads and it's perfectly smooth? There's no traffic, nothing, there's nothing in the way, and you get there on time, right? That's a possibility, right? But you got to understand that you have to make that decision. You can't let these fears stop you from making that decision. You got to get going and you got to just keep moving forward. And there's actually been studies that prove that high performers actually make faster decisions and refine along the way versus people that are waiting for perfection. The low performers are the people that wait, they hesitate, and they could even miss their opportunity, all because they just took too long to make a decision. Okay. So again, guys, the idea is to take action, not wait for perfection. So that was number 2 on something that may be holding you back, guys. Now let's talk about number 3. You may be waiting for motivation versus building discipline. Okay. And we've talked about this on a few episodes now, guys, but the key to success that I truly believe is discipline and consistency, right? We understand that motivation is great. Yes, you want to have that drive. You want to be, ambitious. You want to feel great going after your goals, but we understand that motivation is fleeting. It's not always going to be there, right? So what can we do to combat that lack of motivation? Well, our goal is to build discipline. We got to push ourselves even when we don't want to. We got to go to the gym before or after work, even when we don't want to, right? We got to work on our website, work on our business, work on these emails, whatever it may be, even when we don't want to, right? When we feel like just staying in bed and binge watching Netflix, Hulu, whatever it may be, right? We understand that that is the easy way. We talked about earlier, right? That's the comfort zone. But we got to push ourselves to get out of bed, go after our goals, right? Do the things that are necessary and start pushing forward. And so many people just take it as, oh, well, I'm not feeling super motivated right now, so I'll do it a little bit later, right? And it leads to procrastination, right? But we understand that, again, that motivation may never come. And if you're sitting there waiting to be motivated, waiting to feel like, hey, this is now the time that I got to go, right? It may never come, right? Until maybe you have deadlines and all this kind of stuff. Then, of course, that's going to push you to get that stuff done, right? But it's something that doesn't necessarily have a strict deadline. You got to be willing to build that discipline and tell yourself, hey, you got to do this now, right? This is something that's going to set you up for the long run. These are your goals, your dreams. Go after it right now. We all have that little voice in our head that kind of tries to keep us safe, right? Oh, you don't need to do that. You're comfortable right now. You don't want to get out of bed. You're nice and warm and cozy. As soon as you get up, you're going to be cold. You don't want to do this, right? You don't want to do that. Just stay where you're at right now, right? But we got to build the other voice in our head that says, hey, don't listen to that. Get up, go after your goals, right? Do the things that you need to do right now to achieve the success that you want later on, right? So how do we build that voice, right? How do we start to convince ourselves that we don't need motivation? We need discipline. Well, again, guys, it starts with those small wins. Do the little things and build a routine. Build a habit, right? Start creating something, whether it's a morning routine, after work routine, whatever it may be, guys. Do something that, as soon as you get up out of bed, right, or you get out of work, right, you do the same thing every single time, right? Again, maybe when you get out of bed, you make your bed, you go make your coffee, you sit down, you read your book, you start doing research on whatever it may be, right? But you're doing the same thing every single time, even when you don't want to, right? You know that you're going to get it done because this is going to help you achieve success in the long run. One thing that I really like that helps me out with this, and I've talked about it a few times, is just simply using a Google Calendar or any type of online calendar, guys. Putting stuff in that calendar, start scheduling out, right? Writing a to-do list down on a sticky note or a whiteboard or whatever, right? Putting it down on paper or putting it somewhere where you can visualize it and actually see it, guys. That's going to help you understand that, okay, I have to get this done. It's right there. It's in front of my eyes. I see it on paper. I see it on my screen, right? This is, again, telling me that, hey, I have to get this done no matter what, right? Whether I feel like it or not, this is the next thing on my to-do list. I got to get it done. And what's really crazy about this that I find personally with myself is that the hardest part is always just getting started. Right? When you're going to the gym, right? The hardest part is stepping in the door. It's getting in the car, driving down there and stepping into the door. But once you actually get started at the gym, what happens? You feel motivated. You start to build that internal motivation to say, hey, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to finish my workout. I'm already here. I've already started. I feel a little bit warmed up. Let's go, right? And that's the idea. It's just about getting started. That's where the discipline kicks in, right? Don't think about the entire workout or the entire email that you got to write or the entire article, whatever you're working on, right? Don't think about the entire thing. Think about, hey, I'm going to sit down at my desk and I'm going to open up a Google Docs and I'm going to start typing, right? That's what you got to worry about. Same thing when it comes to the gym. Get in the gym, go to the first piece of equipment and just get started, right? Even if it's at a very light weight, right? Start there, warm up the muscles, do some stretching, right? But as you start to feel loose and get started, guys, you start to build that internal motivation that's going to keep you going to finish out the workout or finish out the email, finish out the article, whatever you're working on, guys. It really just comes down to forcing yourself to say, hey, I just need to get started. And again, as you do this over and over, you take those small wins, you start to build habits, build discipline, right? That's going to help you guys achieve success in the long run because you're doing it over and over again, even when you don't feel like it, right? When you wake up in the morning, maybe you feel tired, right? But if you start to convince yourself that, hey, I just need to get out of bed, right? That's the first step, right? Maybe you put your alarm clock across the room or in another room, right? And as soon as you wake up, you get out of bed, you have to fully get up to go turn off your alarm. Well, now that you're already up, the hard part's over. You're already up and out of bed. Now just convince yourself to take the next step, okay? Make my bed, right? Go take a cold shower. Go do whatever I need to do, right? Do not get back in bed, right? And you take it one step at a time. You start moving forward. And eventually, before you know it, guys, you're building the discipline to start building those habits to help you guys, again, achieve your goals in the long run. Okay, so once again, guys, those are the 3 things that I wanted to talk about today that may be keeping you stuck where you're at or maybe holding you back. And again, all of it starts with a mindset shift. Being aware that you do these things, because I believe that we're all probably guilty of these in some way or another, right? I know I personally am, right? So our goal is 1, break out of your comfort zone. 2, stop overthinking everything and just take action. And 3, don't wait for motivation. Start building discipline with those small wins. So that's what I got for you guys on today's episode. Hopefully you found this beneficial and hopefully it helps you out in some way or another. And with that, I'm going to leave you guys as I always do. Remember, success isn't just about the money you make or the muscles you build. It's also about the mindset you develop along the way. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Money Muscle Mindset.